My name is Qvist-Sørensen. I'm founder of a Copenhagen-based learning and strategy agency called Bigger Picture. And I'm also co-author of this book, Visual Collaboration, a powerful toolkit for improving meetings, projects, and processes. So what you'll experience in the next 20 minutes or so is a walkthrough of some of the content in the book, but also the way we go about collaboration now that we're remote. I've laid the visual agenda out here and I'll walk you through it. And then it's all up to you to stop and start at the moments where you find it most relevant. And I would really invite you to have a black marker and a piece of paper or a notepad with you, as this will be as interactive as it can be now that it's a recording. But I'll be inviting you to follow me. And then as we go along, you will build up a capacity that hopefully at the end will be a big aha. But I'm jumping ahead. Let me walk you through what's installed. So zooming in on the visual overview, you can see the purpose here of the talk is to inspire you, a leader, a facilitator, an educator, or student, to use visuals more in meetings, workshops, and trainings. And in step one, I'll present an idea that may change the way you think about learning, meetings, and the way you use Mural, for example. In step two, I'll show you a method called the 5 building blocks of visual collaboration, which can enable you to cultivate a more visual way of working in your organization. And then in step three, I'll show you how to draw very simple icons. Visuals that others can understand and that you can put together in simple templates. So I'll show you 2 templates and a strategy map. In step 4, I'll show you how to use these simple visuals in a Mural template with which you can facilitate a team alignment workshop. And finally, in step 5, I invite you to join me and my colleagues in Bigger Picture in one or more workshops where we dive deeper into visual collaboration. Now, at the end, hopefully you'll say, hey, I can draw and I want to use visuals more, not only in face-to-face, but also when you work remote. So to understand the need for visual collaboration, there's this gap that you see in front of you. On the one side, on the left side, you have meetings, we know them. There's lack of communication, there's lack of alignment, there's something where there's unclear content, and we need to bridge this gap. We need new methods and new tools to move to the other side where we have shared understanding, shared space, shared ideas, alignment, and clarity. In order to bridge the gap, here's what we have come up with after years of working in the field of visuals. We wanted to make sure that there was a methodology that could help us and help anyone else build this capacity and skills for visual collaboration. So the book Visual Collaboration is a structured approach that can improve your meetings and workshops and projects. It's a systematic approach to help anyone who's not necessarily visual to actually grasp and get all the best out of visuals that you can. And that leads us to the main idea of the book is these 3 levels: system theory, group learning, and visual learning arena. And we call that together the system visualization. Now, the way that we see that is that the bottom is the foundation, which is a system theory that enables you to talk about group learning as something distinct from individual learning. And when you think group learning, it's communication, and therefore you get the idea of visual learning arena. And as you can see, the visual learning arena is capturing communication as visual artifacts on the walls in a structured, focused way. And that helps everybody in the room see what they mean and work together to create something that's co-created. Now, doing this, of course, is a mental model that you can not only apply for physical meetings, but we actually also think work very, very well with remote meetings. This idea of a physical space where you use our ability to see and work together, if we add that to a remote setting like you see here, where everybody's working on their own, distributed, but we still create a space that's shared online, like this infinite whiteboard, for example, Mural, where people can all add. We have a structured approach to the way we work in our space. For every meeting, there's one big whiteboard we can work in, and we can tap into it, we can see the visuals, and everybody in the meeting can contribute with their content, debate and move around what everybody's adding to the shared visual, and in this way have this focused conversation about something that's visual and it's there, it's present, and it's building on this idea of system visualization. Now, to do this, it's helpful to have a method with which you can actually, both in remote and face-to-face meetings, work your way through it and get everybody on board so you cultivate this way of working. So that's the 5 building blocks of visual collaboration that you see here. So we have step 1, or block 1, block 2, block 3, and block 4 and 5, and they all fit very well together. Each of the blocks also have a tool, the designers that you see in the top. The point is that you as a person, you can walk through all 5 blocks where you discover your visual language, you think about visuals that you need to communicate, you walk to envisioning your collaboration process, designing and defining key questions that help people have the right conversations, and those questions help you design templates that are easy to use. And finally, you can prepare to scale by being visual. Others can use your tools. So you can walk away from this systematic approach, having designed a workshop, created a visual language, have clarity in your meeting, and then help others collaborate with you. Now, the whole idea is that you think of it as a mental model that you can use to, on your own, strengthen your thinking, communication, and collaboration, but also in teams. And our hope is that by working your way through building block after building block, you'll be able to cultivate a broader sense in your organization with your teams, the skills that are needed to tackle some of the complex realities that we're facing in organizations today. And with that, we're ready to draw. And as I said in the beginning of this talk, this is the place where you now hopefully have a pen at hand and a piece of paper or a notebook, because now I'd like you to follow me in the icons that I'm making. Draw them, stop if you need to have extra time, start again, and then as we progress, you'll see how your icons will be put together to these simple templates. Okay, we're ready to go. In front of you is now the white canvas. That can, of course, be scary at times, but no worries, we'll start with the basics. The main idea is you're now going to do exactly what I'm doing, and then we'll build as we go. So start by adding a dot to the paper, just a simple black dot, then you're good to go. Then add a line, straight line, and after that, draw a triangle and a square, and then a circle. After the circle, draw a curved line. Now, if you can draw these basic symbols, you can draw almost anything. And to prove that, we'll draw just 2 circles with a couple of lines inside. Here's one, here's the other. Draw a smiley face in the one way or the other with 2 dots as eyes, and then use some lines to show just above the eyes. So our brain really gets these basic shapes, and that's all you need to know. It doesn't need to be more beautiful, nothing at all. These are the way we communicate with the way our brain works. So let's draw a square now with some curved lines here. You just need these lines to indicate here's paper. And by showing paper like this, others will see it. They might understand it. Now, drawing a square with a trapeze underneath is another way of drawing something very simple. A little square in here and some dots will give you this indication that it's a computer, and now with Wi-Fi. So moving on with these basic shapes, a circle, 2 lines down, a half circle, 2 half circles, you have a cup of coffee with a little bit of steam coming out. And we move on. 3 circles that you draw inside each other can easily, with a triangle underneath, indicate target. Now, those are basic shapes that you've used. Now we also want to do people. And to draw people, it's really a good idea to draw a 5-pointed star like this, because then you can substitute the top of the star with a circle, and then they do the 4 remaining star arms. Then you have a star person, and with a star person, you're able to do dynamic star people by shooting the star arms in different directions like this. And you can then continue by adding other items to that star person. So here's the arm out, and you do a square around it like this, a presenter. You also might want to have more people, so you do 3 circles, and then you still do the star drawing underneath. Don't count the legs, but here the arms are down. Draw 3 circles with the arms up, and then you can have 2 teams, one in an excited team and one is a little less excited team. You also really want to indicate place. So all you need is a signpost that can indicate place. And then you want to show how things are related or how things progress with an arrow like this. And then we have a speech bubble or a thought bubble. Those are really, really good to show how you can draw thoughts, what people are thinking and saying. Take a look at all these icons and pause the video if you want, just to make sure that you draw them all so you're ready for the next step. And in this step, as you see, we've prepared for 4 very simple templates. And we're going to use all the icons that you just learned to do in these templates. So let's start with the first one. You draw a line. You draw 2 lines down, and then you have a gap. So on the left side, you then put a team, and that's the 3 circles and the arms down for this team. And on the other side, 3 more circles, and then you do the star part where you put the arms up. And therefore, you want maybe to use a signpost. So we put a signpost here on the left side of the one team and a signpost on the right side of the other team. So that can indicate a little bit of a situation from where they came from to where they're heading. And we want to have an arrow here that makes them do that jump over the gap. Now, that gives us a, well, text-wise here, we'll say this is where they are today as a team. And on the other side, we're going to write, let's say 2025. So this is where they want to go. The challenge that they want to overcome is represented by the gap. And the arrow on top symbolizes the solution. So a team now has a template to talk about where they are today, where they want to go tomorrow, and want to be tomorrow, how they overcome this challenge. Now, that is a template that most people can relate to, and you can start talking through it. The next template is a way to get everybody on board. It's an introduction. You have a center circle, and then we'll do a half circle around. So we're making sort of a propeller like this, and that's for 4 participants, but you can also then make half circles in between. So we have 8 participants in this meeting. And what this does as a mandala, it brings a space in the template to everybody who contributes. Now I'm going to draw a star person at each of these half circles. So it indicates that here's a space for the specific participant. Now that can be that you want to introduce a workshop. I'm just going to finalize the last ones, but you can introduce a workshop where people can say why they're here or what knowledge they bring. And you can do it in the end where everybody says, here's what I take away. And then you can focus in the center something that binds it all together. That was another easy template with the icons you used already. The next template is the journey, and that's also using star people. And the thing is that in any situation, you can do a journey of a user journey or a learning journey. You draw a person and you draw, for example, 3 circles again for a group. Then you add another person here at the bottom center, and then here you do a person. You can indicate that that person is scratching his or her head. And then finally at the right side, there's another person with the arms in the air. Now you do a line that curves and goes from person to group to person to person to person, indicating a path. And you do a line behind, so it looks like they're standing on this path. So that's the journey. And that can be drawing can be used in many situations, but you can add, for example, speech bubbles of what a user is saying before they enter the journey with you, what the teams are having dialogues around, what ahas comes during halfway through, what's the person thinking almost at the end, and when they walk away, what's the end result that they want to express. So that was another simple template that you can use with these basic icons. The last one is putting the icons together to show an agenda of a process a training, a workshop. So I'm just going to draw a couple of arrows here. A smaller arrow for the welcome maybe, and then 2 arrows for the 2 first parts of the workshop or the 2 first modules of the training. Then there'll be a break. Here's a circle that indicates break. And then 1 more arrow, it curves up, and then the last 2 arrows curve a little bit down like this. And then we have a small arrow at the end, which is the wrap up maybe, and that ends up at the target or the goal of this workshop or training. And above the goal, we'll have a document that can indicate result. So here I write goal, and then up at the document, I write the outcome or the result. And that also go to the left of the drawing here and write purpose. What's the purpose of the workshop? And then showing that here's the process steps by the arrows. So these 4 different templates are based on all the icons that you learned before. And now we're going to take it a step further. You may just want to pause the video and finalize them, look at the screen, and then finalize them so you're ready for the next step. Now we'll turn it into an open mural. And here in Mural, I am at the start where I'm going to... When I get a new mural, I will have a couple of choices to make, but let's just pause a little bit, because in a minute, I'll be speeding up the recording of me creating the mural and adding in the icon. So it'll go very fast, and I'll do my best to comment it in a way that makes sense. The main idea is that you see how I'm playing with a mural space, adding in the icons that we've just created and adding in those very basic, simple templates. I'm clicking and I'm getting my whiteboard space. I'm giving it the team title, team alignment, workshop, color coding the white background, and then positioning it on the paper in the size I want. So I have a collaboration space. I pick up the icons and the templates we made before and start using them to orient on the paper. So once you have icons like this, visuals like you've drafted, you can play around with the structure so you can create this visual learning arena for your team. Now, you can have many different templates. So I'm using the ones we just created, but what we like is those very simple sketches you can use in the beginning to structure that thinking. An agenda is good, a contribution mandala is good, and then in this case, it's the team alignment strategy template that we're using. And then where we're heading now is, basing on this sketching, we'll then flip it into how it could look like and how this structure and design you see here, how we turned it in bigger picture into a template that you can now use in Mural, the actual team alignment template. And we had help from one of our designers do the last bit. So what you'll see just in a bit is how these very basic sketches are now turned into a little bit nicer design that you can then enjoy if you want to do a team alignment session. And you can see there's post-it notes and there's different elements that we put in. And now we're going to see how it turns out as a visual design. The point is that you can make your own, and then once you get in, you can also then create these customized templates. So here it is. It's an overview that you've seen. There's a path that's a little bit different. You have agenda in the top. And the session we're going to run as a workshop is a 3-hour session where people will get aligned, first talk about how they think about strategy, then make a shared strategy, then make a visual language, and then do strategy on their own. And then we're going to go into a session about building a language for that strategy, and then having a final overview of what we need to do to get aligned and where we are aligned and some ideas that we want to use in moving forward. So all of that we've now been through. This is the end result. It's a template that you can find in Mural, and you now know the building blocks that we like to use in going from simple sketch and icons into something more complex. And then the final bit is this page. It's really the invitation that if you want, you can go to these Imagine workshops. We'll be doing a team alignment workshops at 3 hours where you get your team aligned. We'll also have a workshop that's called Everybody Can Draw. So that's really going into more details of these icons and simple templates. And then for those who are interested to deep dive into the 5 building blocks, we have a 4-hour workshop where you get to work with all of the templates. And then we have visual collaboration for educators, a specific workshop for educators. In case you didn't know, you can always deep dive into our book, Visual Collaboration, and find it at that site. And you can learn online at the Academy Bigger Picture. If you are among the 100 first, you can get 50 off on the online courses. With all that, I'm very happy to say thank you for joining this track. I hope you got a lot out of it, and maybe we'll see you at the workshops. Take care and thank you.